All right, so you're either enjoying the springtime fun or you're suffering with seasonal allergies. Don't let spring allergy symptoms prevent you from participating in activities you enjoy. In today's To Your Wellbeing, everything you need to know about allergies. Dr. Joel Gallagher with Allergy and Asthma of NC is our expert today. So first and foremost, let's talk about this because everybody, especially with COVID and all that kind of jazz, how can someone tell the difference between allergy symptoms and the other sicknesses?
That's a really good question. We had a hard time with that early on in the pandemic. Allergies tend to be more itching. Think itchy eyes, itchy nose. That's because of a chemical called histamine. Whereas if you have a virus or a bacteria, you have a lot more, well, number one, fever. Fever is never associated with allergies. You'll also have just 1 to 2 weeks of symptoms, whereas allergies can continue for the whole season, depending on what you're allergic to.
All right, let's kind of maybe go step by step. What's common and what's different in both seasonal allergies and like the common cold?
Okay, so you can have runny nose with both the seasonal allergies and the common cold. You can also have a lot of sneezing and nasal congestion. With the common cold and other viral illnesses, you'll have more fever and generalized malaise or fatigue. And then, of course, you can also have the anosmia, which is the medical term for not being able to smell or taste. So that's what you see with COVID-19. You can have cough with both of them because of postnasal drip and stuff dripping down your throat. But when you have more of the itching, more of the itchy eyes, itchy nose, you want to think more allergies.
Okay, so this is very common. Someone is sneezing or they have nasal congestion. If it's clear, is it a seasonal allergy versus like an infection where sometimes you see like green mucus and things like that?
That's a really good question. So early on, even viruses and colds can be clear mucus. But if it goes on for a long period of time, it becomes more green, yellow. You want to think more of an infection.
Okay.
And also, of course, the allergies can continue for several weeks or even months at a time.
Right, mine just don't ever seem to go away. All right, what should people do to help relieve their allergy symptoms?
So I think one good way to start is just to take an over-the-counter antihistamine. There are a number of really good ones on the market that you can just run into Walgreens and get. Zyrtec is one I like a lot. Allegra is really good, especially if you tend to become sleepy with antihistamines. That one causes the least amount of sleepiness. Benadryl is always good too, but that one you have to dose pretty frequently and you become a little bit sleepy from that one too. So if that relieves it right away, I think, bam, you've got your diagnosis. So
right.
It's probably allergies.
A lot of people like to use like a saline nose spray or they like to use a neti pot. So do you suggest those?
Those are really good because they help get rid of all the pollens and the environmental allergens from your nose where they're interacting with your immune cells and causing all the symptoms. The problem with those is that you have to use them, 2 to 3 times a day to get the full effect. And you want to really be careful with those because a lot of people just like to run to the tap and use tap water with those, but you can get some brain-eating amoebas with that. Very rare, but it's important to use distilled water if you're doing your own neti potting.
What? Okay, I had not heard that before. So do not put the neti pot underneath the tap and get the water out of there. Make sure you use that distilled water.
Exactly.
Okay.
How about one more thing to be worried about?
Yeah, one more thing. That's right. All right. How about this? Because I have the watery eyes. Like sometimes I can't even put on makeup and stuff like that for a couple of hours in the morning. So what can we do for watery eyes related to seasonal allergies?
So again, there's some really good ones over the counter. I really like Zatador because it uses a couple of different medications that target that itchy watery eyes. And another one that just went generic is called Pataday. And that's a fantastic medication too. So go grab some of those.
Okay, and say those two again in case people missed it.
Yes, Zatador with a Z and then Pataday.
Okay, all right. And what steps can we take to like decrease the triggers or the exposure to the pollen besides, not ever going outside?
I mean, living in a bubble is probably the best thing to do, but not practical. We've done enough of that here with COVID. But what you want to do is definitely close those windows. I know we all want that fresh air in, but that has a lot of pollen in it, especially early in the morning. All those windy days bring all sorts of pollen in. Using a HEPA filter, especially in the bedroom where we spend a lot of time sleeping, can help decrease the dander from pets and even the pollens from outdoors. Using the air conditioner Also, changing your clothes when you come in from like a hike or spending time outdoors gardening or doing whatever you do outside. That way you can leave the pollen in the washing machine and then put on new clothes that are pollen free.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. We're going to continue on with this allergy question and answer so that we can learn a few ways to help relieve some of these symptoms. We'll be right back.